Hey, hey, what's up, everyone? I am here with an interesting knife. As a lot of you know, I like traditional knives, and I like things that are a little out of the ordinary. So, here today with a Case Russlock. I've been wanting one of these for a while, and there's a ton of them to choose from. All different scaled patterns and scale designs. Some are cheaper than others. This is actually one of the least expensive. It's the amber bone style. Uh, so for those of you who are not interested with who are not familiar with these, Case Knives is an American company. I believe they're based in Pennsylvania. They've been around for probably well over 100 years, and they tend to make a lot of traditional style knives. This particular one really isn't that old a style, but unlike a lot of typical slip joints, you need two hands to open them. This one, you only need one, believe it or not. But I will tell you, it needs a little practice. So, right here, you can see that you have this little tab over here, and you can see it says tested XX. And then right here, you have some jimping on the handle so you can get slightly better purchase on it. Now, I don't know how the original creators of this figured the best way to open it was, but the best way for me was to kind of hold it this way, and then I just kind of pull it up like that with my thumb. And as you can tell, this kind of comes back here. So then you have a little jimping. So you have, some pretty decent purchase on there on your knuckle when you're doing certain tasks, and you can kind of choke up a little bit if you have to. You get the clip point blade. I think it's like 2.7 inches, but we'll measure that in a while. And then you kind of get your traditional liner lock in there. And as you can see, it gets a pretty good amount of grip on that blade, so it feels very, very secure. It's right in the center of the blade stock. And then when you're going to get ready to close it, you press down, and then you press down a little bit with your knuckle, get your finger out of the way, and then you can close it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I kind of did that, decently. It actually takes a little practice because it's definitely out of the ordinary. I don't know if there are a lot of other knives around that have this style of opening and closing, but this one is different than anything I've had, and that's really one of the reasons I wanted to check it out. I like the regular, kind of plain case knives, but this one just kind of caught my eye. So let's take a quick look here. We have a little over 3.5 inches for the knife from basically one bolster to the other. So a little over 3.5 inches, maybe like 3.6 inches. And then for the whole knife with this tab here, we are looking at a little over 4 inches, maybe like 4 1/10 inches from end to end. So it's it's a pretty decent size. It's not like it's like a crazy size or anything. So let's take a look here, measure the thickness. It's a pretty narrow knife. This is coming out at 0.22 inches, which I gotta tell you, that seems kind of thin. Like, I thought it would be thicker than that. Interesting. Zero point 0.3 inches this way. Let's see, the thickest part of the blade. Whoops. Let's get that liner lock out of the way. 0.04 inches. And then it really tapers a lot at the end here, 0.02. As you can tell, this is a very, very thin blade. If you look at that stock there, it might be a little bit hard to see, but it really does taper down quite a bit. Slicey, as I guess some people would say. Please excuse the fingerprints all over the blade, but I got it a few days ago, and I've been using it for the last few days, pretty decent amount, and then I've been kind of practicing flipping it. I tend to do that because I like to kind of speed up the break-in period on knives when I get them. So the first few days I'm flipping and opening and closing and all that other good stuff. So this way they kind of feel old before their time. Makes it more comfortable for me. Although now I think I'm going to get carpal tunnel syndrome in my wrist from this thing. But you know what? It's a cool knife. As far as the blade goes, let's see. We are looking at one, two, maybe let's see. I would well from the tip of the blade to the handle, we're looking at about 2.75 inches, and for cutting edge, I would say we're looking at about maybe 2. Maybe 2.4 inches. So it's one of these things between the fact that it doesn't have a spring or assisted mechanism, it's not an auto, and it has a smaller blade. This would probably be legal in a lot of states, you would think, because the only scary thing about it is that it locks back, and I don't think that's too big a deal. So, good points. It was a decent price for the quality. It was $66. Purchased it on Amazon, so I was pretty satisfied with that, and it actually came in like a day and a half. I really do like the fit and finish of it. And by the way, this is let's see, it reads right here. It's Case XX USA 61953L stainless steel, right there. So I love the fact that it's made in the U.S. It's stainless steel. From, it seems like quality materials. The finish along the bolsters and the bone is like seems seamless. If you're just putting your finger right over here, because you can see how it gets smoother as it gets to the bolster. Very very nice workmanship. I'm very very happy with all that. Um, it does take some time just to kind of break it in. Not a ton of time, but if you were to get something like this, I would spend some time opening and closing it just to kind of familiarize yourself. Also, when this came, it was not sharp at all. It was dull. I tried to cut a piece of copy paper, and when I did, it just tore it. There was like no sharpness in this knife at all. It was really, really, really dull. I spent a little time on it, and I got it to the point where it is nice and sharp now. It slices right through paper. So just expect that if mine was the rule rather than an exception, that you might have to spend a few minutes just kind of getting it into shape. But it definitely is a worthwhile knife. Now, it's probably not. It's probably the knife that you would buy not because it's the most utilitarian and convenient to use, but you would buy it just kind of like for the cool factor. If you like traditional knives, looks wise, very traditional. If you'd like unique opening mechanisms, it's kind of hard to beat this. It's kind of cool. It's a bit of a conversation starter because um, I believe they're the only company that I know of anyway that has an opening mechanism like that. So that's pretty cool. Lockup is extremely tight. Fit and finish is good. But like I said, it's not the most convenient thing. I mean, if you're just going after pure convenience, I mean, you can go to Home Depot and buy a Milwaukee fastback flipper knife for $10. You could probably go on Amazon and buy several flippers you know or fixed blades that are a heck of a lot more convenient than this, or that would deploy, in the case of a folding knife, deploy more quickly and more easily, and with a little bit less of a learning curve for probably under $20. So this isn't something you buy just because it's a really cool, convenient EDC. It's very light. It's pretty thin, but it's kind of like just a cool thing to have. Not necessarily the best, if that makes any sense. And I don't mean that as an insult or anything because I kind of knew that going in. If I want a knife that deploys really, really quickly, I'll get an auto. That's just me. Or, for that matter, even a nice button lock or just a regular flipper. You don't buy that because you're looking for something that's utilitarian. Because let's face it, I have a lot of slip joints. I know a lot of you probably like slip joints. It's not the most convenient knife to have. You need two hands to open, and unless you're going to push it up against something, you need two hands to close. It's really not the most convenient knife out there, but a lot of us carry them because we value the traditional styling and kind of like I look at it as a way kind of like respecting the past in the knife field. It's kind of like if you're a baseball fan, you might enjoy watching today's games, but you enjoy maybe reading about Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays and Honus Wagner and Ty Cobb. Well, this is kind of the same kind of thing. You might really appreciate today's knives, and love them, but you like going back and kind of having the old world style, you know? So that's what this is. This is for someone who appreciates the old world style and something a little different. Now, if you have been here all this time, thank you very much. I would appreciate you subscribing if you are not subscribed already. And of course, thumbs up are always nice. Have a good one.